Stemming. Cutting of the branches of a tree to its stem. That's called stemming, right? So in NLP methodology, uh, stemming is the same thing but for words. So you're trying to cut down the words to a stem. Just like if I give an example, like look, looking, looked, lookable, looks. So if you see, all these words are derived from a stem called look. Okay, or in other words, I could say these are all the extensions of the stem called look, right? Uh, so when you're building some feature vectors in NLP algorithms, you need to select the phrases. Suppose if I say an example, mm, I have you know a description uh, to describe. Okay, hope I can describe well. Suppose so, there are three words here: description, describe, and uh, to. Okay, fine. To be described. So I have three words: description, described, and describe. So all these three words are different, but they're appearing from same word called describe, right? So if I ask you what are the different words in this sentence, you will say I have and okay fine. I think it's a word. I have a describe to be hope can well. So these are all the words in this sentence. So I am summing up these description, described, and describe to a stem word called describe, because I need not create three different vectors of these three. I can stem it to a one single vector with this word. Okay, so these are particularly used when you build some count vectorizers or something, or TF IDF vectorizers, where majorly it's used when you are building your tokenizers, feature vectors for different words. So you need not take different contagions or different you know uh, variations of the words. You just take the stem word and note that this word of stemming is not a root word, it's only a stem. It's the common word in all these three words. Okay, this word might not have a meaning in dictionary, but still it's a stem. Okay, fine. In NLTK, I'll explain two kinds of stemmers. One is Porter stemmer and Lancaster stemmer. After that, I'll just give an overview of building custom regex stemmers. Okay, fine. Let me say from NLTK dot stem import Porter stem. Okay, and if I say p stem equal to Porter stemmer and p stem dot stem, I want to stem a word called maybe something like walking. So walk is a stem of the word walk. It's a part. So this Porter stemmer or Lancaster stemmers are trained on different or implemented on different kinds of text. Okay, fine. I'll give another example. Something like looking. So look. Okay, it's very simple. It's basically using a library of NLTK. I mean Porter stemmer of NLTK, and trying to get the stem words. And let me explain Lancaster stemmer also. And if I say LST, so when LST equal to Lancaster stemmer. So if I say LST dot stem of, again something called, some different word will take, presumably. So prism. So if you see, this prism and presumably don't have any relationship, and I don't think prism is a dictionary word too, but still it's a stem which the Lancaster stemmer has understood from different texts. Okay, presumable, presumably, presume. So it has taken presume, which might not be a dictionary word or a root word, but it's a stem. I'll give another example to prove how it's not a root word. If I say maximum, so maxim, so maxim and maxim, I don't think it's a root. It is having any relationship with maximum, and maxim is not a dictionary word or a root word. Okay, it's a stem again. Uh, Something like intelligently. Yeah, see, intellige. Or if I say some, I'll give an example where if you're giving a stem of a word, will it give a stem again? No. Suppose. So yeah. So this word multiply is already a stem according to Lancaster stem word. So it's not giving a stem of a stem word. Okay. Fine. I hope this was clear with explanation of using Porter stemmer and Lancaster stemmer. Okay. Uh, Suppose if you want to create your own custom stemmer, how do you do that? Okay. I'll do that for you. From nltk.stem import regex stemmer. Okay. Now I say rst some random variable regex stemmer. Okay. I'll try to build a stemmer where I want to get the stem word of all the words having ing, s, e, and able. So if a word I am giving, if it is having, if it is ending with ing or s or e or able, I'll remove it. Okay, that's my use case. I think everyone knows regex, uh, apart from any language you're using. So ing dollar, sorry, uh, s dollar and e dollar or able dollar. Okay. Now I say rst dot stem some word called maybe controllable. See, control. So I have built a custom regex stemmer, and I got the stem, my stem of this word. So if I give a controllable, it has removed able from it, and it's just now control. If I say some other word, speaking. So these regex stemmers or custom stemmers are helpful in a lot of NLP applications in your use cases where you actually do a lot of data cleaning or identify a lot of data, uh, text related stuffs and all. Okay, I got speak because I have removed ing. So this is the working of stemming, uh, and note that this stemmers in real time should not be used for POS tagging, that is parts of speech tagging or NERs, or if you want to work with semantic stuff. Okay, see, when you are getting the stem word, then you are actually considering, for example, description as describe, describing as describe. So the meaning of the word has gone in the flow. When you're speaking in a certain flow, you have different variations of the words. The word flow is having different intents and different semantic meaning. But if you're doing stemming of those words, then the meaning of the flow is gone. So when you're working with the flows, don't use stemming. There you have to actually use the actual word itself. But when you're not working with future vectors of semantics, then or some understanding things of words, then don't. Then you can go for stemmers. Okay, where your information is not lost, but semantics might be lost, right? So when you're going for NER, name entity recognition, or POS tagging, or similar kind of semantic search or semantic wording, don't use stemming. okay, because it will modify the token and give you unexpected results too. Okay, and now I'll explain you what is lemmatization. I hope it's a lot different word in NLP and has a lot of meaning in the real time. So, lemmatization. So, lemmatization, it's similar to stemming but not stemming. Stemming helps you to get the stem of a word. Lemmatization tries to find the root of the similar words. Okay, it's so I'll be using WordNet corpus to help you to understand firstly WordNet corpus and building lemmatizers with respect to WordNet corpus. Okay, so as I said, lemmatization helps you to find the root word. So the difference between stemming and lemmatization, which is a commonly asked question, is that lemmatization helps you to get the root word, of the given word, where the stemming doesn't give you a root word, but it's a stem, which doesn't that which may or may not have a meaning in dictionary. Okay, fine. So what is WordNet corpus? Okay, fine. WordNet WordNet it's a corpus, or you can say it's thesaurus. No, thesaurus of synonyms and antonyms, plus hypernyms, and no, maybe hypernyms. Okay, I think everyone knows what are hypernyms and hypernyms. So hypernyms, they are superset of word meanings basically, and hypernyms are subset of word meanings. So it is a collection of all these words. It's a big corpus and a lot more used in NLTK. Okay, suppose there's a word called spoke. Okay, and if I search the synonyms for the in WordNet corpus for spoke, it will not only give you the root word, it will also give you whether it's a verb or a noun, or it will also give you an example. It will also give you the usage, or it'll also give you the similar words like talk or something. Okay, I'll explain that maybe with an example. From, suppose, from NLTK dot corpus import WordNet as wn. Suppose if I say wn dot synsets, so for spoke, as I was saying, just taking time. Yeah, so the synset of spoke is, spoke, it's a noun, rendell, talk, verb, talk again with verb 0.1, speak, address. So there are different synsets. If I say wordnet dot synset of, suppose again I'll take a similar word maybe from here, maybe talk, v 0.1, okay, and if I say the definition of it, yeah, so the meaning of the definition of this word is exchange thoughts, talk with. Maybe what's the difference with 0.02? So it's expressed in speech. Okay, okay, fine. If I want to know the example, if I say give me an example of this word usage, so we often talk businesses talk, actions talk louder than words. So these are examples. um, what else, like there are a lot of other functionalities according to WordNet corpus. Maybe if I say if I want to get the yeah, firstly, we haven't got the lemma name still now. So if I say for synonym in uh, WordNet.synsets, again spoke only, spoke, and I say I'll print the synonyms maybe. synonym dot lemma names. Okay, so for the word spoke, there are different synonyms. For each synonym, I have taken the lemma names. For the synonym of spoke, which is spoke again, spoke, wheel, spoke, and radius are the lemma names. Rundle, spoke, and rung, talk, speak at your mouth. Um, so, uh, so there are different lemma names. If I take the word of spoken, let me see if it is matching in all these things or not. Yeah, talk, talk, speak, address, speak, spoken. So it seems to be near to this word. Okay. So WordNet lemmas like spoke and spoken are nearly same if you see this. So we need not reinvent the wheel based on the worded understanding. We can just get the root word. Okay. See the root word for spoke and spoken are same like talk or the lemma name is same talk. So these versions differ based on the way you write. So it can be a noun or a word or adjective based on the usage. So that's why it's giving a lot of different versions if you see, and also different whether it's an heavy verb or whether it's a noun. And okay, so by default it assumes that by default the wordnet lematizer assumes that the input you gave is a noun, spoken or spoke as a noun, because there is no sentence to compare whether it's a verb or not. uh, if suppose you want to give uh, the POS of it also, by default it is noun as I was saying. If I want to give it's a verb, and for this verb what are the synonyms or lemmas for it, so then I can specify it with one more parameter. Okay, so WNL wordnet um, yeah, sorry, I need to import it from NLTK dot stem import wordnet lematizer fscwnl equal to wordnet lematizer fscwnl dot lematize. Okay, spoken. So by default spoken is a noun I'm giving by default because I'm not specifying any parameter for it. How do I do that? Say we, it's a verb. So now I got the lemma of the verb spoken is speak. Okay, um, and so here it's a noun, it's a verb. So it's a little tricky here where you need to give the POS info to the lemmatizer if you want to get the exact synonym or lemma of it. Okay. So now we'll discuss on something called POS tagging. So what is POS tagging? POS means parts of speech. So I think everyone knows what's parts of speech. So it's basically identifying the parts of speech in a particular sentence or a paragraph, like whether it's a noun or a verb or a proper noun or a common noun or it's an adjective or adverb or it's a determiner or anything or or different different things. So I think everyone knows it's a part of an English thing. In my childhood, I remember in my school where my English teacher used to teach how to get various parts of speech, how to identify them, how to locate them based on the context and all. Um and she was a good teacher and taught me a lot of things there with respect to parts of speech. Now, this NLTK library it has trained on Penn Treebank dataset. Okay, or it uses Penn Treebank tagset. So based on that, it identifies the parts of speech in NLTK. So let me give you an overview. Suppose I have a sentence, something like, "My name is Vignan." Okay, so I can say my is a pronoun, name is a noun, is a verb, and Vignan is a noun again. How NLTK can identify this with respect to the context, the word I gave, the sentence I gave. So firstly, we have to obviously do the word tokenization and get the tokens of this sentence. So tokens, okay, let me import NLTK if it's not imported, and if I say tokens equal to NLTK dot, do you remember in the last videos word tokenizer? So word tokenize of sentence. Now I want to print tokens. So these are the different tokens in my sentence. Now for each word, each token, I want to find whether it's what kind of parts of speech it contains. So NLTK has a functionality called POS underscore tag. NLTK dot POS underscore tag of my tokens. So it has given me something. My means PRP, which means a proper noun. Name is a noun. Is a verb, and Vignan is a noun. Okay. But some of you might not understand what is PRP dollar and then NNP VBZ. So for that, you can get them with the help the help library of NLTK. So it's like NLTK dot help dot. So I was saying Penn Treebank tagset it uses, right, NLTK. So upen underscore tagset, and I will give you what is PRP. Okay, let me take all of them. You might have a doubt what is NN and NNP, noun, it's also noun. So what is this, right? So let's see that also. VBZ. So PRP means pronoun, it's a possessive pronoun. Examples are her, his, mine. Okay, and NN means it's a noun, common noun or singular or mass. Examples here. And VBZ means it's a verb, present tense verb, third person singular. And examples, NNP means proper noun. So the difference between NNP and NN is common noun and proper noun. So here you can get the understanding of these things. But if you want to understand what are the different tag sets actually available in the NLTK library, so let me see all the tag sets. It's again the simple thing. Yeah. So I got my different tag sets here. It's like dollar, command, or CC conjunction, and cardinal, determiner, foreign word, adjective means JJ, LS means a list item marker, and then noun, proper noun. So here you can understand what are the different tag sets available here. Okay, if you want to refer, just use this. Okay, suppose you want to find similar words according to your data based on the context. How do you do that? For example, there's a word W, suppose, which you want to check it out. So if you want to find the similar words in your corpus, like similar like W, then how do you find? So basically you find in this way, right? Is there something like word 1 and the your word and word 2, and there's one more phrase like word 11 and no word 1 and word uh, word hash and word 2, and again there is word 1 and word double hash and word 2. So if you want to search similar words like W, it will hover over all the words in your data set or corpus and check what is the context it is prevailing on. So the W is surrounded by two words, W1 and W2. Similarly, W1 and W2 also includes W hash, and W1 and W2 also include something like W double hash. So it will find you the similar words. If you say I want similar word of W, it will give you W hash and W double hash. So how do you do that with respect to your corpus? Okay, I think we have already discussed on brown corpus previously. So if I say let me take some corpus words like brown words, mm, brown brown corpus words. Basically, it's like nltk dot corpus dot brown, and how do I get words? It's dot words. So brown words are, and let me see just 10 top 10. Okay, the Fulton County grand jury said Friday an investigation of. Okay, these are the top 10 words. So if I just say this, let me convert it as text. NLTK dot text. The library, I mean the method I'm trying to use is NLTK dot text, and let me convert all these words into lowercase. So word dot lower for word in brown words. Okay, text of 0 to 20, suppose. So it's all lowercase and you got a text in this format. And if I say text dot similar, suppose let me check it out. Country. What are similar words like country in this corpus? It's still running because it's hovering over all the data, and it is saying time, house, way, world, year, church, no, are also similar kind of words like country because they appeared in similar context in the corpus. Okay, and I see this most of the words are also places, and most of the words are nouns. Country is a noun in general, and it's like a place in general. So if you see house, the world, state, church, you know, city, room, place, they're all in the nearest I mean, it's they are near to the word country according to the corpus, and it also finds the similar words based on. Actually, it finds the similar words based on the parts of speech too. Okay, the concept of I was explaining word one, W and W2. It finds not just surrounding words but also based on the parts of speech. So the method is nltk.text, and then you say text.similar or your corpus.similar of a particular word. Let me take another example. If I say something like man, because I see it here, let me see. Time, day, one, woman, now men. So it says the nearest similar words of man are these according to the data set. Let me see something like some the, yeah. So the, a, his, their. I think all of them are like similar type of words. A, the, and the conjunctions or prepositions. Um, so I think most of them come in a similar manner because the parts of speech also matches with most of them or nearest. So this is how you can find the similar words and also the POS tags in NLTK using NLTK. Okay, let's just see, let's just kind of build a small use case and uh, and understand how this can be helpful to us in our real times, in any data set. uh, okay, fine, let me take a tagged data set. In NLTK you can get a tagged data first. uh, every corpus in the NLTK that they have provided, they are providing it along with the tagged words too. I think I haven't mentioned in the start, but every corpus in NLTK is giving you the tag data too. Otherwise, in a real time, you have to manually tag or use a methodology to tag. But for now, we'll use a tag data set. How do I get it? Um, NLTK dot corpus. Let me take brown corpus. Okay, let me take tree bank corpus. Yeah, tree bank corpus dot tagged words or tagged words, and target is universal. Okay, so just replace this tree bank with other corpora available in NLTK, brown or something, so you will get the target data of the same one. Okay, let me check target data. mm, no, of maybe 0 to 10 to 20. Okay, sorry, I think tag set, I need to give a tag set. So there are multiple tag sets available. Um, so universal is the generic one, default one. So this, if you open this tag data of tree bank dataset, the top 20 words. So this is top 20 words. Pierre Winken, comma 61 years old, comma will join the board as a non-executive director, November 29th, Mr. Winken. Okay, so it has given the tagged words noun, it's dot and num and noun adjective. Okay, so you can analyze this and check it out. uh, Suppose I want to understand in this tagged data of tree bank corpus, how many how many verbs are there and what are the most frequent verbs. The use case is find the most frequent verbs used in tree bank corpus. Okay, how do I do that now? Obviously, I mean, in the previous videos, if you have seen, I have used something called frequency distribution. Now I'll apply the same, but I will just apply the same with respect to pvoice tags. Okay, uh, it is like you need to import frequency distribution from NLTK, import frequency distribution. Now if I say um, I want all the nouns, right, all the verbs, right, I'll create a list comprehension. Target data equal to frequency distribution of your target data. Okay, so now let me see target data 1. Yeah, firstly the most common words are these things. So the comma has appeared 4885 times in the highest priority, and the as 4038. And if you see, this is a dot, this is a det, no ADP and all. But I was saying I want to find the most frequent used verbs. So I just need to filter this data with respect to getting a verb. I think if you understand this, I'm understanding like most of the frequent words are mostly determiners and simple words like of, zero. It has appeared, zero has appeared 1099 times. Comma has appeared 4885 times. Okay, fine. Let's ignore this and just try to focus on getting only the verbs and most frequent verbs. Okay. How do I do that? I'll just create a list comprehension as I was saying. So if I say word of 0, see it's a tuple. If you see, it's a tuple. Okay. Word of 0 for word comma something, whatever it is, in tag data 1 dot most common. If word of 1 is equal to verb. And if print frequent verbs, so I see the most frequent used verbs in the corpus, the tree bank corpus, is, said, was, are. Okay. Okay. Or if I want to print the POS also, then I'll just say word of 1. Yeah. So all are verbs, and the most frequently used verb is okay. So these are first use case. I'm just trying to understand like the frequency of verb distribution in the particular corpora, and that too I'm trying on a corpora which is already tagged. That is to summarize this. And maybe let us take a different use case now. Let's see which tags are most common in brown corpus with respect to news articles. Okay, let us see in any news, sample news data, what are the most used words or what are the most used parts of speech. Seems interesting, right? We see daily news, but what are the most common words in it, most common usage, so, parts of speech in it, right? Use case. Which tags are most common in news category? Okay. So we have brown corpus, right, from NLTK dot corpus import brown, and now let me get all the brown tagged words. How do you do that? I have already explained this before. So brown dot tagged words, and let me check the tag set is universal. So why this is required? Because there are different taxes available. There's a default one on the universal, the most used one. So I'm just taking a random tag set here, and categories equal to news. I think we already discussed how to get the different categories. What are the different categories in brown corpus? Okay, so let me just print the top 20 words of the brown corpus, tagged words of brown corpus. Okay, so These are the top 10, top 20 tagged words of the brown corpus and that are part of news. Okay. Now again, as per our use case, which tags are most common in news category? We already got news data now. Let me see what are the most used words. Okay. Tag underscore frequency distribution again equal to NLTK dot frequency distribution of tag for each word comma tag, right? Triple tag comma the POS word comma tag in where brown words, the tag FD. So you can see in a news article, adjectives are most used. Full stop. I think you can ignore this full stops. Adjectives are most used. ADP is more used. Conjunctions are more used. Verbs are more used. Out of all of them, I see nouns are the most used ones, firstly, and then verbs are secondly, ADP adverbs are secondly, thirdly, determiners are fourthly. Okay, so that is a summary. So, what are the most used words or POS in a news category? News articles. They are nouns. Okay. If I just say tag FD dot most common, I get then in descending order. So that is by default again now. Let us take another use case number 3. It's kind of similar one. Okay. But here the thing is we are trying to use something called bigrams. There's a concept called n-grams in NLTK or NLP where you try to find out the phrases or the dual words or triple words. Suppose I say South Africa. South and Africa are two words, but actually they come into one word. But when you do tokenization, they come as South and Africa separately. So by using bigrams, you can get these kind of words into one system. Okay, but here I'm not trying to merge South and Africa. I'm trying to do something else where I just want to find all the bigrams in my corpus and check which uh, which bigram is having a noun and which is preceding by a noun. Okay, I think you got me. Use case. Find all the uh, words or the parts of speech which are preceding by noun in my corpora. Let us consider the same uh, brown corpus of news data because we already have that. But let us convert into the bigrams. So where is my data? Brown tagged words. Now bigram data equal to NLTK dot bigrams of my corpus. Let me take bigram data of 0 to 20. Okay, it's saying it's not, it's a generator. Okay, uh, So, so these are my bigrams. The Fulton. So it's a determiner and noun, 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 adjective, noun. So these are all bigrams of my corpus. Now let me uh, do the use case. Find all the words or POS which are preceding by nouns. So see, there are a lot of determiners which are preceded by noun. Nouns also preceded by noun. Adjectives also preceded by noun, and even ADP is preceded by noun. So, but let us check what are the most frequent ones. Find all frequent. Okay, this is important. Frequent, because otherwise there are a lot. Now let me say noun precedes equal to, because it's generator. If I say a of 1 for or let me use the right word of 1 for word comma um, word 2 in bigrams, if word 2 of 1 is noun. So I think all of you are understanding this list comprehension. So I'm just getting all the 1 means, because in Python 0 and 1 the count start with 0. So 1 means the second word. So in the first uh, word W is first word and W2 is second word, and W1 of 1, that is 0 1 determiner for W1 comma W2, W1 comma W2 for in bigrams if W2 of 1, that is if this is noun. Okay, so I'm filtering this data with only getting nouns, the words preceding by nouns. Now I'll say noun precedes of 0 to 10. Yeah, so you see that it's like determiner, noun, adjective, verb. I have got all the bigrams which are preceding by noun, but this is not my target. This is just printing, the words which are preceding by noun, but I want the frequency distribution or the most highest count. Okay, so that is like bigram frequency equal to NLTK dot frequency distribution of noun precedes. Okay, and if I say let me print bigram frequency distribution dot most common. So in the news articles, most of the nouns are also preceded by nouns. Just like I was saying the example, right? South Africa. So South also is a noun and Africa also a noun. So noun is also preceding by noun. That's why most of the counts are nouns. It's an assumption again, and it's a second thing is determiners. So most of the determiners are preceding by nouns. Okay, and the least is X, and the second list is pronoun. So we have solved a use case where we found out what are the in a news article, what are the different words or preceding by nouns, or what are the different POS tags preceding by nouns. Okay, seems it's a lot interesting. Don't get confused, be with the flow. uh, there's a lot more to see. So there are three kinds of automatic tagging in NLTK. One is default tagger, The second is regex tagger, and third is lookup tagger. So default tagger, it defaults the unknown tag to noun. So if I give a sentence to this tagger, default tagger, and if it is not able to identify a particular word, it says by default it's a noun. It doesn't show a none tag. Okay, and it finds the POS of a particular word in a sentence with respect to most likely preference based on the previous training it has got on a particular document or an article or corpora. Okay, that's how default tagger works. Secondly, regex tagger, as it is already explained, so it is based on the regex you define. So we can build our own regex taggers based on our own grammatical or lexical understandings. Okay, and the third is lookup tagger. So lookup tagger works on the base of frequency count of the word per voice it is having in the dictionary. Suppose I give you if the suppose the lookup tagger is trained on a corpora, and suppose that corpora has a word called frequent, and that frequent has appeared 1,000 times in the full corpora. So, we have manually tagged that frequent as adjective for 500 times, noun for 200 times, and verb for 300 times. So because it is highly tagged for adjective, even if I give a new sentence to the lookup tagger and say is frequent, what kind of tag is frequent, it will say by default it's adjective, because the highest count of frequency of POS was adjective. Okay, I hope it was clear what is lookup tagger. You can defer it out and try implementing some use cases there. Okay, uh, I'll explain that with respect to how to train your own taggers, the unigram tagger or bigram tagger, or compounding them both. Okay, unigram tagger. So how do you train your own unigram tagger? So what is unigram tagger? So unigram means single word tagger. uh, I think in the previous video I was saying that there is something called n-grams. So considering one word at one time is unigram. Considering two words, is bigram. Considering three words is trigram, and n for n-gram. Suppose I gave the sentence tokenizer like sample sentence. My name is Vignan. Okay. Uh, Sample sentence. Let me find the unigram for all these things. NLTK dot so let me do word tokenization here. So NLTK dot word tokenize of my sample sentence. Tokens equal to this. Now if I print my tokens, I get my name is Vignan. Let me give a longer word sentence. I am giving an NLP tutorial. Okay, so I got a sample sentence tokens and tokenizer, word tokenizer. So what are the unigrams here? Let me import from NLTK dot util import n-grams. Okay, now I say NLTK dot n-grams of tokens and unigrams. So I want to split my sentences and give my unigrams. So these are all my unigrams. It is similar to word tokenizer because it is considering only one word at a time. Now I'll show the difference. I want to print bigrams, anagram of tokens, and bi means 2. So here are my bigrams. My name is Vignan, Vignan dot I am. So these are all bigrams. And if I say I want trigrams, just say it is 3. So I got all my trigrams. And if I say n equal to 5, I want 5 grams. I mean, like, n gram. So this is my 5 grams. So this is how you can get n grams. Now I was saying I want to build a unigram tagger. So unigram tagger means this one, where I'm trying to find the unigram p voice. For each of my word, I want to find the p voice. So firstly we'll start with unigram and then we'll go ahead with bigrams and trigrams too. So I think we already are having something called brown corpus, right? Or let us again import um, brown tagged sentences. I was saying every corpora and NLTK is also providing us the tagged data. So I'm just taking the brown tagged sentences corpora. It's already tagged. Okay. How do I get it? NLTK dot corpus dot brown and I want tagged sense, not words. And let me take the category again as news itself. And let me print some sentences, maybe 2 sentences. Okay, it's an error category. Okay, the spelling thing is categories. Yeah, so I got 2 sentences. From here to here is first sentence, 3 sentences, first sentence, and from here to here is second sentence. I got 2 sentences. Okay. Now how do I build a unigram tagger now? Unigram underscore my underscore unigram underscore tagger equal to NLTK dot unigram tagger, and for which unigram tagger, for what? Brown tagged sentences. You see this brown tagged sentences, each sentences, there are two sentences we have printed, and each sentences has words which are having POS tagged. That's why I'm directly giving this tagged dataset. Okay, so it has built my unigram tagger based on the brown corpus. Okay, now I just want to give I'll take a random sentences from brown tagged sentences and check out, or test my unigram tagger. Okay, maybe brown tagger sentence of 2020, now the corona time. Okay, a full trial. I think it's a small sentence. Let me take a big sentence. Yeah, I got a big sentence. 2021, hope for the best. So 2021, this is the sentence of 2021 target sentence. Okay, uh, let me take a brown corpus now, which is not tagged and validate my unigram tagger according to that. Brown sentence is equal to nltk dot corpus dot brown dot sents. See, it is not tagged here. Previously I have taken tagged, now just the sents, because I need to validate my responses. Categories equal to news. Now again brown sentences of 2021. So this is my target data of 2021, which is saying CD, JJ, no, adjective, noun, verb, and all. Here it is not tagged. I have built a unigram tagger, right? I'll just try to use this and predict or test my unigram tagger. How do I do that? My unigram tagger dot tag 2021 sentence. Yeah. So it has given me this. Let me compare it now. My predicted tags and actual tags. Okay, let me just give a variation. Yeah, so 2 is CD, British is JJ, civil is JJ. I think it's like 100% accurate. Is there any mistake in my prediction? Nothing. Nothing. Yeah, there's one mistake. Newly is printed as RB, but actually newly is adjective JJ. So it's a mistake. So I can say it is 99% accurate tagger. I have built a 99% accurate unigram tagger. Okay, because all are correct except the newly one. Okay. Uh, so I just tested my unigram tagger on 2021 sentence alone. Why don't I evaluate whole brown corpus itself? Let me do that and I'll check the accuracy. My unigram tagger dot evaluate full brown, like target data set. Okay, it is predicting each word and also identifying with the uh, actual value. So I think everyone who is already working on machine learning part can understand what is test and train data set and how we evaluate our test values. So I am giving my target data set and I am predicting using my unigram tagger, and let me evaluate it. So it is 93% accurate result. So I have built a unigram tagger which is giving 93% accurate result. That's great, right? That's great. And I didn't do anything new. I'm just using the already existing corpus. It's so easy. Uh, Fine. Let me do one thing now. Instead of evaluating, building my tagger on whole data set and testing on the whole data set, why don't I test it on 20% of the data and train on 80% of my data? Let me check that. So I have length of my brown, uh, no, length of my brown tagged sense, right? So I have 4623 sentences in it. Let me train on 4000 sentences and test on 623 sentences. Okay. So my training set is brown target sense of 0 to 4000 sentences. Test set is brown tagged sense of 4000 to the rest. Okay, and my new unigram tagger nltk dot unigram tagger of training set. Okay, so I'm training now. This run will train, so it's running, it has run, it has built a tagger for me on 4000 sentences. Now let me test on the test set and evaluate. My unigram tagger, my new unigram tagger dot tag, sorry, evaluate my test set. It's 81% accurate. Okay, so training on 4000 sentences and testing on 600 sentences, this is my accuracy. Okay, why don't I evaluate one on unseen data? My new unigram tagger dot tag brown uh, brown sentences of, let me take some test data like 4023 sentence. So this is my 4023 sentence. It has tagged in a certain way. Okay, and what is actual target data? Let me see. Brown tagged sentence of 4023. Okay, so both. So if we compare, uh, see here it is none. Here it is actually adjective. So my unigram tagger said incredibly is none. 17 1/2 inches none. Uh, and my here actually it is incredibly is QL. 17 inches adjective. So my tagger has made a mistake in two parts here, and that's why it is 81% accurate. I'm just trying to show you on one sentence, but actually the evaluation is happening on 600 sentences, 623 sentences, and the training has happened on 4000 sentences. Okay, I hope this was clear. Any questions, you can contact me. Okay, this is all about unigram tagger. Okay, we have actually developed our own training set and testing set, and we have built our own tagger here. Now, because it was a unigram tagger, as you already know, unigrams work on single words. If I give South Africa, which is actually a place and it's two words, my unigram tagger can't understand that the difference of South Africa and South Space Africa, right? So let me build something called bigram and train on that. Okay, so it's a similar thing. Bigram tagger equal to nltk dot bigram tagger of my, we already have a training set, right? Okay, so it has built, it has what this has done is it has converted my training set into bigrams and did the bigram tagging also, and it has trained on 4000 uh, 4000 sentences along with the bigrams. Now let me take something like test it basically. Bigram tagger dot tag, uh, maybe I'll give a new word brown cents of 2021. Okay, so this is my result. So did it improve actually? Let me check it out. Brown tag sentences of 2021. So considering my bigrams, does has the result improved? Previously we have seen there were two issues here. One is newly was tagged wrong. Let us check now. Newly is JJ here, and newly is JJ here. So my bigram tracker has performed well and predicted that newly is actually adjective, and here is also adjective. So I can say it was more accurate. More accurate. Uh, how much accurate? Let me see. My bigram tagger dot evaluate my test set. Oh, it's saying it's only 10%. It's only 10% accurate. Uh, that seems it has not trained better. Yeah, that seems it has not trained better. So it is only 10% accurate. That seems having unigram tagger is better than bigram in this use case. Okay, let me check out something like bigram tagger dot tag something like I'll give my own sentence. My sentence. Okay, we already have a sample sentence, right? Let me check that. Yeah. So tokens. What are my tokens? Yeah. So now I'll tag bigram tagger dot tag my tokens. So it's saying Vignan as none, dot as none, IAM as none, NLP as none. So my bigram tagger is not actually performing well. See, most of them are none. Uh, Let me check my unigram tagger, which I have built previously. It's my unigram tagger. So here my unigram tagger is actually little better. It is at least giving some extra predictions, like giving is VBG and is AT, tutorial as none, now is RB. So it is little better. It is trying to predict the other words too. I have built a second unigram tagger, right? Let me check that too. Yeah. Is there any improvement? No. So in my use case, the unigram tagger is performing better than bigram tagger, and it has 81% accuracy here, but the bigram has only 10% accuracy. So there is no point in going for trigram tagger, which will be not right. So guys, it's your call to choose based on your data set which tagger to go with and what kind of tagger to implement. It's all in your hands, and these are some of the real-time use cases people go with. Okay, okay, fine. Now we have three taggers, right? Default tagger, unigram tagger, and bigram tagger. Now how do I merge them? How do I intermix them? Okay, and build it as a final tagger. Okay, so fine. First tagger was default tagger, NLTK dot default tagger. Okay, the concept is merge all my taggers. Okay, so my first tagger was default tagger, as I was saying, where the default is noun. and the second is my unigram tagger, where I gave some training data. I'll use the same. So here, while doing that, I can do something like back off equal to my first tagger. So here I am building a second tagger and merging it with the first tagger. So backing off it with first tagger. Okay, so it's training, and this second tagger is a combination of unigram plus default tagger. And now third one, or I can say the final tagger. So it's merging with bigram, NLTK dot bigram tagger of training data again, and backing it with the second tagger, which is the combination of default and unigram. So my final tagger is a merge of bigram, unigram and default tagger. Okay, so it is backing off with second, first and default. I mean unigram and default and bigram. Okay, let me check how this merged final tagger is performing. Final tagger dot evaluate. I have already tested, right? Tested. So it's 84% accurate, man. So my NLTK default tagger was not so good. It was like around 90% accurate. Unigram was 81% accurate. Bigram was 10% accurate. But the merged model has 84% accurate. Let me test one. Tagger dot tag uh, tokens. So is it any better? Yeah, it's giving result for all, man. My pronoun. So if you see my unigram tagger, it has missed some of them and some of them it has printed wrong. My background was more bad. This was also little bad, but my final tagger, it is giving, it is not giving none for my name. It is identifying my name Vignan as noun. I am glad, man. I am glad that my final tagger is predicting my name as a noun in my sentence. It's also giving my tutorial as noun, NLP as noun. Amazing. So obviously, the thing was all nuns are replaced by NN by default tagger. That's why it was showing NN. Otherwise, it would be the same. That's a trick behind it. Okay. I hope I was clear what I was explaining with respect to building your own taggers, how to train your taggers, how to test the taggers, how to evaluate them. Uh, so it's a good concept, and there are a lot of great use cases in real time. So keep up with it, guys. So the next thing we're going to discuss is named entity recognition. So NER means named entity recognition, which is a concept in NLP where you could find the named entities in a raw text. Okay, I can say NER is a first step in information extraction in a NLP task. So what do you mean by NER exactly? So if I have a sentence like Mr. Sundar Pichai is CEO of Google California. So here I could say by reading this text that Mr. Sundar Pichai is a person, CEO is designation, Google is a company or organization, and California is a location. Okay, this by reading this text you can understand. But how do the NLP? Uh, how do you do that in NLP where the machine can understand what each phrase or word means in a sample raw text? Let us try to implement that using NLTK corpus. I'll show you three ways of finding the NER. One is using NLTK chunking of regex, and the second way is the default any chunk parser of NLTK, and I'll also explain you the Spacy library of which helps you to find the NER. Okay, so let's start with the first one where I'll help you to understand the concept of chunking. So I'll build a chunk parser for you where I can chunk a piece of text and find named entities and showcase the results to you with along with the POS. Um, or I can say we can build a use case directly. That will be more helpful. So use case would be, let us try to implement noun phrase extraction or noun phrase chunking. So you might have seen NP in the POS, right? NP means noun phrase. So noun phrase chunker or parser based on regex rule. Let us have the rule as the rule can be identify noun phrases on the condition that noun phrase should have a determiner like the or a, which is optional again, and then it should have an adjective 0 or more, and then it should have a noun. Okay, if these three things are there, then I can say that full phrase or full chunk is a noun parser. Okay, noun phrase. I'm extracting phrases. So my NER, named entity, here is finding the noun phrase based on this rule. So I'm building a rule parser using regex. So this is the overview. Now I'll implement it. So as discussed, our pattern is to find a chunk parser. Noun phrase. The condition is it should be noun phrase and it should have a determiner which is optional, and it should have an adjective 0 or more, and then it should have a noun. If these three things are there, it's a noun phrase. Right, guys? Yeah. So let me take a sample sentence. Sample sentence equal to. So my sample sentence here is this one. I just copied it from somewhere. Let me start with building my chunk parser, which will identify my noun phrase. Okay, based on the condition I gave here. Okay, determiner, which is optional, and adjective, and which is 0 or more, and noun. So my condition is this. Let me see how many are that. So my sample sentence now becomes, first I need to tokenize, right? NLTK dot word tokenize of my sample sentence. My sample sentence is this. Let me find the POS now to just check it out. NLTK dot POS underscore tag of my sample sentence, and my sample sentence is this. It has identified all my POSs for based on the NLTK package. Now let me start building the chunk parser. So my chunk parser, it has to just use regex parser based on the pattern I gave. So there's a functionality NLTK dot regex parser of what is the pattern? It's my pattern. The pattern I gave. Pattern. Okay. Now what are my chunk sentences now? Chunk sentences equal to chunk parser dot parse of sample sentence. So let me print the sample chunk sentences now. Yeah, I got the tree here. So I'll show the tree. So European is a JJ, authorities NNS, BBD, and here you saw it's NP, noun phrase. I wanted to implement a noun phrase which will have the condition of these three. So this is my named entity, my custom named entity based on regex parser. NP, it is having a determiner and 0 or more adjectives, so there is no adjective here, so it's 0 or more anyways, and a noun. So a record is a noun parse, a noun phrase, and then these are all again NERs, all POS, and here I got again noun phrase, just noun, and here I think it's a complete noun phrase. determiner plus adjective plus noun phrase, right? So I have found 4 chunks, or I have parsed 4 chunks of noun phrases, and I built my custom named entity here using regex parser, not 4, 5. Yeah. So this is how you can extract named entities based on your custom rules. Okay. I think I'll better show it in a better tree representation. There is something called IOB tags. Okay. IOB tags. So IOB tags are the standard ways of representing any chunk of trees or any tree chunks basically. So IOB means it is inside, outside, beginning tags. So it's a standard way of representation. Let me show you how to implement that and showcase it in a proper way. Mm, by default, NLTK uses tree to, I mean, it uses it uses, I'll just write it down instead of spelling it. It uses con to LL, sorry, con LL 2000 corpus for identifying the tags. Okay, it has been trained on that corpus. So we'll import that NLTK dot chunk import tree to con ll tags. There is also the reverse one, con ll to con ll tags to tree. Okay, let me do p print also. Okay. Now my IOB tags tree to con ll tags of my chunk sentences. Okay, p print of IOB tag data. This will show me a better representation, the ideal representation. Yeah. So in this, here there is one token per line with POS and named entity tag. Okay. So European is a word, the POS is JJ adjective, and O is my tag. I mean the named entity. O means in outside. There are 3 things, right? IOB, inside, outside, and beginning. So it's an outside tag, outside tag, outside, outside. And here if you see, it's a beginning of noun phrase. In just a minute back, we have implemented the instruction of noun phrase name entity, right? So we have extracted name entity here, and there are NP, a record, NP. If you have seen here, a record is a noun phrase. So noun phrase, and it's the beginning, it's the inside one, and then again all are outside, and again I got my uh, NP here. It's beginning, again here beginning noun phrase, inside noun phrase, inside noun phrase, beginning noun phrase, inside noun phrase, and outside. So this is standard way of representation, inside, outside, beginning, and I have implemented it using the NLTK con NL corpus tags. Okay, so based on this training corpus we can label new sentences too. Okay, this NER we have built is using regex and IOB tags chunking, right? So let me now go to the second way of implementation, that is using inbuilt classifier to identify NERs and NLTK. So NLTK has an inbuilt classifier. Okay, how to use that? See, again, the NLTK classifier is built on its own training corpus, so the results may vary according to the training data and test data, but I'm just giving you an overview how to find this. So my NER tree, I can say I'm going to print tree is NLTK dot NE underscore chunk. The function is NLTK dot NE underscore chunk, named entity underscore chunk of my sample sentence. Yeah. So here I got another type of NER where it is not just finding POS and noun phrases. It is doing something else. It's finding tags like GPE, NNS, BBD. These are all POS again. Person. GPE means location. Person means Google is a person. So according to the training corpus of NLTK, it has identified Google as a person. I think that's an error, no, on the classifier. Mm, there are no, there are other more bigger libraries which do better training. So but for example I'm just going with this. So this any underscore chunk or any other inbuilt classifiers like spaCy, NER and all have in common NER, named entities like person, organization, location, you know, uh, and designation. Okay, the similar ways of NERs it will find. So here the NLTK has found out GPE. It says European is a location, and person Google is a person. According to NLTK, Google is a person. Okay, it might be an error too. Okay, and what else? Yeah, it has identified two of them. So this is how you can use an inbuilt classifier of NLTK to find the general or generic named entities like person, organization, location and all. In my opinion, there's a library called spaCy which we have discussed in the start. So spaCy library performs better with respect to NERs compared to NLTK according to my opinion. So let's why not cover it now? Okay, so let us use spaCy library to find the NERs now. The reason why I'm going for spaCy now to explain is generally the NLTK NERs are not so good, with respect to accurate results. See, it has identified Google as a person. spaCy seems better in with respect to a lot of subjects. It has been trained on different corpora, and it has a lot of different linguistics or languages to cover, lot of variations of domains to cover. It can handle French, EN web cores, vectors, just EN language, and there are a lot of facilities. Even spaCy library helps us to find the lemmas to POS2. Okay, but here I'll just showcase with using spaCy NER. That's all. Okay, so let me install spaCy. It's installing. So my spaCy is installed. Now let me load the EN Core Web SM model of spaCy and try to interpret NLP with that. Uh, Before going there, spaCy I could say it was trained on 105 corpus, um, and the list of the NERs spaCy can identify are here. Okay, so it can identify people, nationalities, north, buildings, organizations, GPE location. GPE means country, cities, and states. Location means non-GPE locations, not non mountain ranges, bodies of water. So these are all the different NERs spaCy inbuilt NLP NER can identify. Okay, fine. So let me know the load the Core Web SM model. Okay, so I'll just say import en core web sm. It's imported. Now nlp equal to en web core sm dot load. It's loading still. Okay. So it has loaded. My AN Web Core SM model is loaded now, and now I'll let me take the sample sentence. I think it is there still, right? Let me copy that. So my sample sentence is this. Yeah. I'll apply NLP on this. NLP is already loaded. The model is already loaded. Inbuilt one of sample sentence. And now what? I mean, this is my doc which is applied on NLP, but still I haven't extracted anything, right? From pprint import pprint, and then I want to pprint. No, I want to import. I mean, I just want to get the the word and its uh, NER. So let me take it as x dot text, comma x dot label for x in doc dot ents entities. Okay. Yeah. So my doc has four labels. European is NORP. NORP, as you have already seen, it is organization. I mean, like an organization or something. Google is organization. Our NLTK package previously has said Google was a person. By Spacey is saying Google is an organization. So it's better. 5.1 billion is money. It has identified that money is there in this, and Wednesday is a date. Yeah, it's a date. So this way Spacey looks to perform better. Um but let me show some other things which Spacey also has internally. Maybe like I wanted to show the IOB tags which is in Spacey. If I say pprint of maybe IOB tags x comma x dot ent entity IOB, then I can say entity type also. For x in doc. Yeah. So it is saying European is a word, the entity is B, IOB is B, beginning, and 381 is entity type, and again here it is I. So we have represented the NER in proper IOB tagging also. There's something called display C inside Spacey which can render the NERs in a proper view. Okay. So from Spacey import display C. I'll just show this. Display C dot render uh, NLP of our sample sentence, comma. So it's Jupyter notebook. So we have to use this command for Jupyter. Jupyter equal to true, comma style equal to entity ent sorry uh, spelling. So yeah, it is showing you in a better format with tagging. I mean display C rendering, European org, money, date, and all. Um, there's something called dependency parser which I will be discussing in the next section. But how does Spacey also help you to identify the dependencies of the sample text? That I'll show here, because we have already entered into DisplayC. I just want to cover it here itself. I just need to say my style is dependency parser dp, and options, I need to give options equal to like some kind of distances to show or render. Random. Yeah. So this called dependency parser using DisplayC or Spacey rendering. Okay. So it says authorities. It's a noun. It's dependent on European, and find is dependent on authorities, and find also is dependent on Google. So this shows the dependency parser of different words in my text with respect to different POS tags or entities. Okay, I'll be explaining dependency parser in the further sections in detail. Here it's just rendering. I'm just trying to show. If you want to explore, you can explore more. Okay, guys. So we have built NER using three different ways. One is chunking and regex parser, and then we have built using NE underscore chunk the inbuilt classifier of NLTK, and then the third popular way we have built is using Spacey NER. Spacey NER is quite popular in the real time. And there are different ways with integration with NLP and deep learning. You can build your custom NERs too, with respect to your own domain, with respect to your own data sets. The custom passes can be built, and it's a popular use case. NER is a very popular use case in real time in many companies. Every text-based dealing companies have to use NER in one or other way. So keep it in mind, guys, and go ahead with good use cases with respect to NER.
To know more, follow and subscribe to Upgrad.